for supporting and trying to inspire financial fitness, because the biggest gap between poverty and sustainability is financial literacy. And Lynn saw our mission and said, hey, we want to give forward to help do that. We didn't want to just take money from anybody. We wanted somebody who was smart about it, about what money is, about money management. And in my journey through starting this program with Nick and talking with the world's leading millionaires and billionaires, I learned something very valuable. It's not making money that makes you rich, it's how you manage it, right? How you earn it is one thing, but how you spend it, how you save it, how you invest it. More important, pay your taxes and pay it forward, right? Because that keeps it in circulation in a very healthy way. So that's to me, the best organic ecosystem for any financial program. And Lynn meets that because their family dollar store is very smart shopping. You don't spend money going to a store, gas. Time is money. That's something I learned very valuable from the millionaires and billionaires. That time is very valuable. So I save a lot of time by not going to the store. I can shop online. Also, they give you bonuses for shopping, right? Hey, I'm a girl. Give me a bonus. I don't know about you guys, but I like bonus money. If you spend $25, which can be done, even though you're spending very little money, you get free shipping. And one of the things I learned about his dollar stores, they have name brand products and products that I like to buy that cost me $60 at the stores, cost me $2 on Lynn's store. Same product, same amount of volume, $60 here, $2 there. I mean, come on. With the $58 I save, I can go buy a new dress, right? Or invest in another solar box. My solar boxes that I build only cost me $40. And then I have to buy the pan. The pan costs me about, whatever. But anyway, so what I'm saying is that when you shop smart, you save money. These are essentials that a lot of things that the Family Dollar Store offers are essentials that we need, right down to masks. And I deal in PPE equipment as one of my side companies right now. And I'm going to tell you what, you can get masks from Lynn cheaper than you can wholesale. Just you can get a box of 50 masks for 25 cents.
$25.
Or $25. I'm sorry, 25 cents. 50 cents. I mean, that's darn cheap. You can't do that. And they're the same box of masks my doctors are using when you enter their building. They before you come in the building, you have to wash your hands and get a mask. And it's the same box. I've looked. It's the same box. So I'm just saying that the Family Dollar Store that Lynn has come forward to address not just the essentials that we always need every day: soaps, shaving cream for men, razors, clippers to cut your own hair. But they've also come forward with CBD products. They've also come forward with PPE products. There you go, the CBD patch. But they also have the CBD tablets. They're one of few companies who managed to sell CBD without getting the purchase canceled, because PayPal will cancel purchases of CBD, and so will some of the other electronic payment systems.
A quick question. If suppose I am ordering something from Dollar Store, a CBD patch, and if I want to reorder it, if that CBD patch has some kind of QR code, I'll just scan it and place the order. Is it possible?
Do we have the means to reorder the patch?
Only from the CBD patch. So there's a barcode. I'll just scan it, and it will auto order. I mean, maybe your company or someone. I mean, we can work it out. But that should be auto ordered from there itself. I don't have to go to the website, pay the amount, and do the needful. It should be automatically done.
An automatic way. We've been talking about that. We don't have that automatic reordering right now, but we will. The very first product it won't be the CBD patches. It'll be the minion napkins. They're the ones that Kimberly likes. Yeah. So I am going to have to jump off, but I want to ask a quick question. with a compost, and I thought that was a fantastic idea that you were talking about with Anuj, because we've composted for years. We're gardeners, so we do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I see, and maybe you can tell me how you solve that problem. Why aren't we all going to turn out to be 300 pounds because we can't create enough compost to be able to heat the house unless we eat ourselves to death?
Compost is what you don't eat.
I'm sorry?
Compost is the stuff we don't eat, right? So to me, I create a lot of compost.
Yeah.
But it's the food. But I don't, again, you have to be careful what you compost. I do not compost any meat products, right? Because
No, sure, right.
Things.
No, and I understand it's what you don't eat.
Right.
But the point is to be able to get enough of what you don't eat, you have to eat a lot of other stuff.
So there are other things to compost. Do you mow your grass? Yeah. Do you mow? I love that. Do you mow your grass?
Yes.
So
yes.
we can do that. And the leaves, we grind the leaves, right? The leaves generate a lot of heat. Did you know grass is what actually makes the heat just explode?
Yeah, I know.
So there's a lot of energy burning in grass when it gets into your thing. So there's many ways to build on your compost. If you wanted to build a real system there, this is my experiment. So I'm just using what I have,
Sure,
right?
Right.
But what if you made a deal with the local school, right? And you said all the compost that you're not using, put it, we'll bring a truck, pick it up, and put it here. So I mean, there's different ways to do it. A friend of mine wanted to create his own, homemade diesel, right? And so what he did was he made it because he was making it out of frying oil. And he made a deal with all the local restaurants. Don't throw away your oil. I'm going to come pick it up because I'm going to recycle it. And he was making diesel oil out of recycled. So there are ways to do this.
Sure.
Restaurants throw away a lot of food. They throw it in the trash can. So there are ways to collect this and probably put it into a compost situation where you can generate enough heat. But it has to become a business, basically. Right. But
I was being a little bit funny.
I love it. It would have to be 300 pounds to generate enough to heat my house. You're absolutely right. So
yeah, and if you're a gardener, you're not going to use leaves because leaves are great. You just cut them up and put them in the gardens. Yeah. At our last house, we were there for 28 years. We had 3 acres. We had gardens all over the place, and woods, and we never put one leaf out to be picked up.
We don't either.
All the neighbors did, but we didn't because I would just simply blow them into the gardens and then get out my composting lawnmower and just compost them right in the garden. So my mulching mower, I mean. So,
yeah. And people don't understand it. They have to be mulched. You not put a whole leaf into the garden. It will destroy the garden. It will kill the oxygen in the garden.
It'll get mold. Mm-hmm. It'll get mold. So you don't want to do that. So anyway.
And Lynn, before you leave, we should catch up on the payment parts. Remember the last discussion?
Yeah, I remember we talked about that. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to hold you right now, but let's catch up whenever you can.
I'll put my my email address in the chat. So get a hold of me.
But we make it real easy to get to the dollar store. If you go to ibm.tv, you click on the dollar store. And I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm not trying to bounce my computer around too much today. But everyone knows, there are 4,300 items or more to shop at. There's no reason to leave home and they have all the name brands they have. They have Johnson's and they have all the best soaps. Irish
Pampers.
They got toilet paper. They were the first to get toilet paper.
Right.
So, so it's just, but the fact that they kind of stepped up to current needs and they got masks. And if you need gloves, I have a distributor for gloves now. But they've got all of these things coming out. The CBD products, I think, are amazing. And this is what I tell people: it's so expensive. Go ahead.
60% of the products are made here in the United States. Unfortunately, at the moment, we can only ship in the United States because it's too expensive to ship out of the United States. But as Kimberly and Ankit, and I know Willie has heard this, and probably Sharif also, we're working on the possibility of doing online stores in India, ultimately migrating them to Malaysia and to Australia. Um, Ketul, you can, or Kettle, however you'll have to tell me how to pronounce it when we talk. But anyway, since you're outside of Baltimore, you can have stuff shipped to you. Um, and Kimberly, just look in your email because I sent you more bonus dollars. So
Thank you. So that's the other thing is we're being provided bonus dollars, especially for those of us who have our own TV shows, so that we can share them with our viewers,
right.
and they get some bonus bucks for shopping and also watching. And we're going to give you little questions and homeworks to do to earn them, but this is not going to be that difficult. But this is, I shop the dollar store for my basic needs. But now, I mean, when COVID hit, I didn't have to go shop there, and then I found out they had minion napkins, and I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. Um, so, but you can't. I just can't say enough. One, you can try CBD products cost effectively. CBD in itself is very expensive to buy. Just in a little bottle, you can pay up to $100, $120 for a little bottle, and they've got them for packages that you can try them out, and they're $2. I mean, you're not going to regret that decision, right? Most of us will throw away $2 every day. So,
Yeah. Let's all shop, after this call. All
yeah,
of the
let's
toilet papers and hand sanitizers.
let's do a shopping party. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
shopping party. Yeah.
I'm just having problems.
I have to
with my
run.
internet.
Thank you.
All right, Lynn.
Hey,
See
Catch
you
up with
all
you
tomorrow.
later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, my internet, I don't want to risk going down. So, but this is good business talks, and solar energy is probably one of my favorite subject matters. As a girl, there were many things I wanted to do, and finding alternative energy was one of them, especially when I first went to engineering school. And I was studying electronic. I began studying electronic engineering, and I converted over to computer. Um, and only because that's where the jobs were. That's the only reason why I switched over. Was it was a means to do it, but a means to an income. And but it didn't hurt me any because I still kept my electronic background, but which I found fascinating.
Actually, Kimberly.
And Kim, it's time to talk about payments energy with Ketul.
All right,
So,
payments energy is very important. This is very important. This is where I was leading to. Is once you get to this energy, now you got to generate what? Revenue.
Revenue. Yeah. And actually, I wanted to understand like Ankit's question that he asked for earlier about when you scan the QR and then you automatically buy, right? Is that like it depends on where you scan that, the QR?
So
Is that like on the dollar?
Yeah, the question is that people to buy a lot of stuff they have to go to the website of dollar store, and I'm using a product and suppose the product got finished, and I'm little lazy. I don't want to go to the website. So if I just scan something on that package or somewhere, I just scan it and automatically it picks up my membership ID or something, and then it places an order on dollar store, and they can supply it to me, something like that.
Yeah. So normally, what the use case is like, you had to open the app, right?
Yeah.
That Family Dollar, and then scan whatever you wanted to scan. Because there should be a unique identifier that which is linked to your account and linked to the product, and they can ship. Like for example, if you know the Amazon Echo Dot or Echo, right? That they have a Alexa, and you can buy through Alexa, and you don't need any device, right? You can tell Alexa that, hey, order this product, and then it'll place. So basically, like that Alexa is linked to your the Amazon account and linked to the product. So there is always a unique identifier, right? So you can say like product number 1, buy it now, and then they'll buy it for you. So it depends on where you actually go, and scan it or even say or even type a number. So like for example, if store doesn't have an app, right, we can generate an app, and
Yeah.
all the products basically linked on that app. So you don't need to go to the website, just open the app, scan whatever the product you wanted to buy, right, and then that's it, like because all the order has a SKU number, right,
Yeah.
that we can link
Yeah.
to that. So there is a possibility, yeah, there are a lot of ways to do that.
Yeah.
And there is one more thing that I wanted to talk about on, especially on today's discussion, that everyone's familiar with CCTV camera, right?
Yeah.
Now there is a new way to make a payment through CCTV camera. I was reading the article.
Really?
Yeah, so
Tell me where the article is. Yeah.
in the few hotel systems, right, the lodging properties, like they have a CCTV cameras, and basically like you walk into the restaurants or you walk into the bar, right, basically they monitoring, there are two ways to monitor. One is like through send the entire video recording to their servers, or
Yeah.
scanning the faces and send the images to the server. So what that CCTV camera do is like they scan your image, scan the location that you are at the bar, right, and then all you have to do is like at the final check, right, all you have to do is like probably they have a device or not device, just look at the camera and say yes, and you're good to go. Because they scan your face, they know that it's you, right,
Yeah.
you're showing the sign that okay, this is fine, my bill is fine, and then all they have to do is like put your check on the folio, which is open folio, because you're staying in the hotel, and that's where you make the payment. So technically you don't need anything. So that is a new way that they are doing it, and it's actually it's very like about to go live kind of solution in the market. So uh, that's one of the cool thing that I was reading yesterday, and I think it's pretty advanced,
And Ketul,
and
what I've experienced is that I was staying at one of the best Western hotels in New York, and I didn't show up at the checkout counter. So they had a folio, it was open, and then they have a policy that if you are satisfied, just drop the key at this box, and
yep,
you are good to go. And if you
yeah,
don't
that
drop
is.
that key, that means you have something to discuss. So then you have to go out and sort out your matter.
Even though you don't need to drop the key, in the latest so that is a very United States way of checking out, because people don't usually like to go to the front desk at the checkout. So you know
So it was
they
not on the front desk. It was not on the front desk. So they have a drop key at the floor where you have your room. So
yeah,
once you go to the room, just drop the key and that's it.
yeah, I don't even drop the key,
I don't
I just
either.
leave the hotel.
I just
So yeah, that is exactly, and there are like lot of like in the payment world, like uh, that is a normal process in the United States, that people don't check out, so they during the checkout process, like the all the hotel properties, they close the folio on that day, because they assume that you check out. So
Yeah.
if you don't, then they probably put like one more charge on your room, because when the room service
and they have to
they
come
go
in.
and clean that, so they know, so they report. So that is how normally, but that is there are a lot of so I was working with the Marriott last year, and that was a one of the use case in the Cairo, Egypt, and Dubai, on the Ritz Carlton, that people, when the United States people travel abroad, right? They don't go to the checkout. And what happened was, during the checkout, because in the Marriott hotel they have a little bank terminal sitting. It's a local bank terminal where they make the payments,
Mhm.
and then they have a property management system which is not linked to the local bank. So what they do is like they enter the all the check-in information on the property management system, and then they take your card, chip in or swipe in the little bank terminal, and when they approve, they put the authorization code manually on their system. So basically it's a two standalone system that they operate. Now let's assume that that number, that when they put the card number information on their property management system, the third party, like a gateway providers, they take that card number, tokenize, and send the token back to their system. So now that system only have your token number, not the card number. So let's assume that you don't go to the front desk, you left the hotel, right? And now they have to close the folio manually. They don't have a card number. So how are they going to punch on the little bank terminal? Because they need a card number physically or the card to finish the checkout process. So that was a huge discussion that I was part of, and then I designed a little workaround for Marriott last year, and design a little standalone device. So what that device do is, swipe your access card, all the property champion, they have their card, right? So we know that whoever is authorizing or whoever is using that device is legit, because we are dealing with a lot of sensitive data. So you swipe the card, that access card, and then enter the full token, that is whatever the gateway providers, and then that token replace with the card number and expiration date. So they take that card number, expiration date, and then they finish the manual checkout process when somebody left the hotel, like Kimberly or like me, so they don't have the card number. So that was a huge issue in the past. So what happened was, like, all the property reach out to Marriott headquarters in Bethesda. They call the gateway providers for the card numbers, and there was like a lot of back and forth, and a lot of fat fingers happens. So this is what the workaround solution that we did. So now, to resolve the whole issue, like, they have a lot of advanced new ways to do the payments, and that is one of the thing is CCTV camera that handles everything to check out. And also, you don't really have to have uh, any key dropping or like checkout. And now the keys also, it's kind of expensive, like, the key card is
Yeah.
expensive for the hotel, because
It
a
is.
lot of people take them with them, and then it's basically trash. And how much does that cost for each key card for the hotel?
$10,
it's
25
uh
dollars.
it's a 10 cents
10
per
cents.
card, yeah.
Okay, so it's
but
not so bad, but
but every year, just imagine how many guests that they have and how many unnecessary expenses they have. A lot of people lost the key cards, so many things. Sometimes they give you more than one key cards, so
I'm
there are a lot
bad.
of expenses, yeah.
I'm real bad about it. So they would be better off giving me a permanent necklace or something, right? And then I stay with them all the time, the same places, and I come in, it's got my RFID, and then it just gets me in and out. I've had some weird experiences, but one of my favorite hotels, you guys are going to flip out over this, they still do the old fashioned key.
Oh,
Oh,
They still do.
that's
So
interesting.
my favorite hotel, I'm not going to tell you where it's at because I don't want anyone to know where I go. But they still have like the blue plastic, right, and the key, and then they have a key for the pool. It's just like the old keys, and so you have to go to the box at the end of your stay, and you have to talk to them, and when you check out, and but it's all personal. It's an old family ran hotel, and they just never wanted to upgrade to that. Like, in fact, they just got Wi-Fi last year. So for many years that I've been going there, I would tell people I can't work. There's no Wi-Fi. I can't work. There's no. They don't even get cellular there. Um,
I'm pretty sure they seriously need me, to talk to them and upgrade.
but it's funny because the guy who does the umbrella chairs for them and stuff like that, he takes the card. he does
Yeah.
everything. He does everything electronic. He's young like you, and he's got a young mindset. But the hotel itself still works very old fashioned, um,
Yeah.
and
But
it's
now they send the key on your, app or mobile wallet, so it's pretty easy. Just like tap your phone and you can enter in the door,
yeah.
So
I've actually used
and
one
Kim,
key system that used your phone, right? And
yeah.
what it did was is it took the Bluetooth from your phone to let you onto the where you're allowed on the floors, because some floors you're allowed to go to VIP, and so it would automatically run the elevator for you. I thought that
Mm,
was really cool.
that is cool. Yeah.
That was in San Francisco, by the way. Uh,
Mm,
I'm trying to Residence Inn, I think. Um, I think it was, so that because it would let me go up to the rooftop. But anyway, that was, I thought, way cool. What, Ankit?
Kim, there are a lot of hotels in India where you'll get a butler for 24 hours, and one of them is at Udaipur where I stayed. It's on the lake, and you get a butler since the day you park your car outside the parking, and then you have to take the lake boat ride and then reach out to the hotel, and you don't need to do anything. No payments, nothing. Everything is all paid or whatever it is, and then they have your card, as Ketul said. You just have to, punch your card and share your ID, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, and then they check out once you are at a parking lot. If there is some balance in between, they just check out and clear the payments at that time. And the butler will do the needful because it's a big country. We have a lot of people around, and there are a lot of hotels have a lot of butlers, and that's how they hospital.
See,
Get the best hospitality.
being able to tip electronically would be great too. I had a friend who invented an app so that you could tip people electronically because not everybody. I stopped carrying cash for a long time because I have had attempted muggings because I'm tiny and small. People think that I'm not going to fight back. So I quit. I just finally I tell people I don't have money. What are you going to mug me for? By the time you run away, I'm going to cancel the cards. But so I don't. But so tipping is another thing. But I'll tell you one of the coolest things I used to do, and I would like. And for some reason, it stopped. But I used to book my business trips to New York a lot, right? And in there, I would go through Priceline, and on Priceline, I would book my car ride to and from the hotel, my car ride to and from the airport, actually, my flight. They would have a limo waiting for me, a limo, not a taxi, a limo waiting for me. It was cheaper, a lot cheaper to do it this way because I added up the price several times. And then my hotel, all my tips were included, right? I would tell them how much. And I hit my card one time, everything done. And if I missed my flight, they would rebook a flight for me. And I wasn't paying premium prices. I bought one package, all inclusive. And this was before really good apps existed. But now I think the app, if they had an app, it would remind you, hey, your flight's at 2, you might want to, But my limo, but the thing is that it allowed me to have a limo driver that was cheaper. I didn't have to pay any tolls. All of that was figured in. I didn't have to do anything but pay one bill. And I added it up, I don't know how many times because I just couldn't believe it was that much cheaper. Because people go, well, how can you afford? You must be making a lot of money. And I'm like, I'm telling you right now, I'm saving about 50% doing it this way. And I didn't have to deal with the aggravating, I hate saying this, cab drivers.
But that is what, most of the hotel industries these days, to give very easy process for the customers and attract them towards the enjoy the whole hospitality experience. So that is what exactly they do. They even offer you. I was surprised, in Dubai, one of the big brand Marriott's Ritz Carlton. It's a 6-star property in Ras Al Khaimah, which is a city in Dubai. What they do is they give you in villa check-in. So basically, when you reach there, right, they already know that which villa you're gonna stay, right? So they will take you directly over there. That villa you can get fresh before even check in, right? This is you can get fresh. They give you food and some meaning appetizers and some fresh up drink, and then they give you the check-in information and little bank device which is connect with the cellular data. So they
Okay.
take you in your villa, and all you have to do is okay, you're checking in, whatever the card or the way how you want to pay, and then that's it. They leave. So technically, and checkout also, you just leave the villa, and the cab or the camel ride will come pick you up on your villa. So technically, you don't need to see the front desk at all. The whole
That's why I
experience
like
is there.
that. That's
That's
why I like
wonderful.
that
And
process.
also,
All I saw was the concierge.
Yeah,
Everywhere I went, the concierge took my luggage. I didn't have to do anything.
exactly. Yeah.
They
Kim,
changed it. They
Ketul,
changed.
I was watching Sharif's show a couple of days back, and one of Sharif's friends visited China, and he just I think he have opened the account in Alipay, and then he paid all the money through Alipay. Is that what Sadiq he was discussing about?
Which one?
One of your friends visited China in January, and then he paid. He opened an account through Alipay, and then he paid everything through Alipay in those 14 days of the visit. I think you forgot about that conversation.
So, so no, no, no. Okay, okay, okay. No, yes, I understand what do you mean. Yes, something happens. Even in Malaysia, specifically, like I'm just trying to learning about this money transferring and other issues. I'm trying to understand because yes, there are many. Sorry about that. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so there are actually many actually immigrants and many other solutions. They are trying to solving this money transferring and this kind of thing. Even Malaysia actually tourist based country. So many five-star hotels and the three-star hotels and many thing is here. So definitely, like example, the uh, I think you have a very good chance. I don't know. Maybe you have already business in Malaysia, but issue is that money transferring is a good issue. I'm trying to learning. Even actually, this session is very interesting. What I learned from example, renewable energy. Malaysia is a very good hub for that. Even the money transferring, many things happening right now, even in Middle East and the Asia Pacific market. So many things happening. I'm trying to
But
learn.
Ankit,
What I've understood is that if you are a traveler and if you are traveling to a lot of countries, and if you can have a kind of a temporary travel account at the airport, and suppose we sign up with Swiggy or Alipay or Google Pay or Apple Pay based on the country to country, and then based on that currency, we can just use that currency within for that particular vacation. That would be
yeah.
good to set up at
So
airport.
watch the video on YouTube. There is one very interesting regarding Alipay, like how you pay in China, and it's super interesting the way they do the process. Like as I mentioned, like the Alipay done like last year they done 5.7 billion transactions in 1 year. So and it's in only in China market, that they did that much transactions. And the way they do the business is like you Alipay is not only giving you the payment options, but is also giving you direction, map, texting, coffee shops. You can pay in
Wow.
anywhere, like bike rental or cabs, Uber. Like they have a different name, similar as a Uber concept. Like you can rent a taxi or cab. So everything you can do through one app.
But
So
even then, I'm surprised. Alipay is famous in China, but I've been to Hong Kong multiple times, and I have an MTR card which I can use at most of the places. People using Alipay, Google Pay as well, but it's not that. It's not the first prior or maybe first primary wallet transaction you would like to do. I mean, they have a lot of
mm,
different things, but I think China has more Alipay than what you have in Hong Kong.
yeah.
I just had an idea. So remember Dr. Yu telling us that PayPal cancels all, and I've seen this happen. PayPal has been causing all kinds of problems. By canceling his transactions for anybody buying CBD products and things like that, maybe we can connect his business with Ketul, and
Yeah,
Ketul can provide him his electronic payment system. I mean, let's make that contact happen because
certainly.
you know,
I
one.
think we need to schedule a marathon meeting with Ketul and invite everyone who has some kind
Yes,
of business.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Let's do
definitely. I would love to do that,
Yeah,
that discussion.
because I think we also talked about doing a showing online how to register with Kachul's business
yeah.
and getting payment plans. If you want me to, I could go to his website and we could try to do that, or we could schedule it next week when Ankit's
We can
computer.
schedule it next week. Yeah, once
Okay.
we have a
When
definitive, we
your
can.
computer systems work. Mine's a little iffy today, and I would rather it not mess up in the middle of everything. But you know, it just happens. This is one of the challenges we're going through. I'm learning to, like Ankit, just use one computer for one thing when we're
Yep.
doing this. So,
No, definitely we should sync up, like and go through the whole your business, agenda, or like the future of the business. And we can link the payment. As I said, it's not a big deal or it's not a big option. Meaning, it's not like a such a hard work that we are doing. It's like very smart work that the way link the payments towards your business, and charge uh, subscription fee, or the way you want, like we can customize it.
Well,
So
and that's what people need to understand is this is not that difficult. It's a matter of just going out and doing it. And like you had
yeah,
mentioned in the beginning, it's finding the right fit because each person needs something different. But
yeah,
that's what you're there for. What makes you unique is that you have improved the process of the system and made it a lot more user friendly than the old platforms, and you're a lot more secure.
yep,
And those are the two things that people need to look at because when you're running a business, you don't have time to think about your security, right?
exactly,
You want somebody else to be taking care of that for you. You also don't have time for learning curves. And
yep,
by having a more user friendly system, there you go. And I know
exactly, yeah.
because,
So, Ketul, I have a curious question that I mean, people or merchants who signed up with you, is there any kind of insurance on the payment or transaction or something? Because you know there's a lot of online fraud as well going around, and I'm not sure who is liable for that. But is there any insurance which covers all these things?
Yeah, there is no insurance exists, like in normally in the process, but like whoever is processing the transaction, they are responsible indirectly or
Okay.
directly, the way, like because uh, basically that money comes from one place to the other place, right? And now you are holding that money, you directly you are responsible of it. So if your transaction got stuck, or I'll tell you one example what happened. I'm not going to say the name of the company and stuff, but I'm very very familiar with the whole process. What so the one device is taking a lot of transactions from the merchant or the customer, right? And that device also, in the industry, the payment industry, they call store and forward. It's called SAF. So when your internet is down, you can still take the transactions and store it locally on the device, and then when you back on the internet, they
Yeah.
send that transaction from one place to the other place.
Okay.
So during one time, the internet went down, so that device is taking all the transactions, okay, and save it in the local space. And what happened is, by mistakes, somebody upgrade that device. So as soon as the device connect to the internet, before even sending those transaction, device upgraded, and they lost all the transactions. So imagine that the customer or the consumer, like they already get their product, they left. Now the whole money is stuck because the merchant won't be able to settle their transaction because transaction is lost. So who's responsible for that? Is that the whoever provide that solution, the middleman, they are responsible, and that the company write a huge check to the merchant. So technically, there is no insurance, but you are responsible because you are the one who's taking the payment. So there are a lot of other ways to do the store and forward. Not like you don't need to store that on your local device, but like all the smart devices now available who takes the cellular chip enable. So as soon as your internet is down, it enables the cellular data and send the transaction live, and that's where you can reduce the risk of that store and forward. So there are a lot of ways to do that, and whoever is processing, they are responsible for that transaction. So if you're, let's say, like your
So, Ketul,
$1 million batch stuck, then you are responsible to settle that transaction no matter
okay.
what.
So, Ketul, a quick recommendation. Maybe we are discussing about bandwidth since a couple of days on our show. So, whenever you sign a merchant form, or whenever a user is signing a form for a merchant, maybe for some transaction, so you have the details like name and phone number and mobile and all those things.
Yeah,
This could be a column for bandwidth as well, because if the bandwidth goes down, someone will lose the transaction as well. What do you think?
someone will do the transaction, you mean to
I
say?
said if I'm a merchant and if I don't have a good bandwidth, so there
Hmm.
might be some issue with the transaction. So you should record the bandwidth as well, that how much bandwidth that particular store or that particular area have, and based on that you can run the transaction. If there's a low bandwidth, so you have to share some kind of notification or warning that the bandwidth is low and the transaction won't process at some point of time. Is it something on which you are working
So
on?
So when we sign up the merchant, like we clearly explain them, like how your system will work. So definitely the number one thing is like to have a high speed internet, because without that, you're not gonna be able to do the business. But now
That's
it depends on the merchant, the way how they want. Like, so for example, there was a customer, Seas Candy, if you know, in the US, like it's a very seasonal business. So Seas Candy is the one that say like, oh, I know, because they use normally the mall internet, the mall Wi-Fi, because they are in the mall. So they know like there are a lot of issues with the bandwidth. And when we signed up that merchant, or any merchant, like we explain them the clearly that you need a store and forward, or you need a cellular data enable, because if you don't trust your internet, then we are not responsible for your transactions.
yeah,
Because let's say for example, you don't have internet, so there are two ways, like that transaction won't initiate. So technically, they won't be able to do any sales, so the
yeah,
transaction is stuck there, right? So nobody's responsible, is they are losing the business. But if you want to move forward with the transaction, even though you don't have internet, then there are a lot of other ways to do. So we don't really like check that internet connectivity, but we clearly explain the whole business use case, that like this is what the possible solution is. So that's why I mentioned like many times on your show, to educate the customer is most important thing, because they might don't know, like that how my business will affect with the whole thing. So we educate them, it's their decision, the way they want to process. We will happy to take care. But uh, so there are many ways to do that. Without internet also you can process, without so many things, like if you don't want devices, there is other ways to do the payments without the devices. So many solution is available, it just like depends on. Yeah.
Let's talk about say for instance Sasha has a business, just for example, and he has an online um, store, right? Or something that people go to once a month and they're going to buy from him for that month for an
Mhm.
event. Say Sasha hosts an event once a month and he's going to collect money from them, right? And at the end of the day, there's going to be some prizes given to some people, but he's going to collect the money from them. So he could set up getting payments through your company onto his online event, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So basically, like when he has a website or any online platform where he collects the money, we can link the payment process, so that money is, instead of him is taking it, we will take it. So our platform, our software will sit on the top of the website, like for example your ibm.tv website, or his uh, Dollar Tree website,
Stars.com.
or
Stars.com.
star.com. Yeah, anything, like we can put our payment software, which is sitting and taking everything on your behalf. So taking customers card information, replace it with the token, right? So that token sitting in their
That's it.
.com. So every time you buy, that token basically initiate the transaction, not your card number. And then we will process that payment throughout the end. And then you take your money on your bank account, right? And you don't need to worry about any PCI scope or anything, because as soon as somebody put the card, we take that card and we replace it with the token. So you are basically out of PCI compliance and anything. So
So that's awesome because PCI compliance can be brutal. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
perfect. I used to so my engineering background and telecom. I actually got into cybersecurity, but part
Yep.
of that was that big movement of PCI compliance, which people don't understand. Payment card compliance, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah, and there are even so many things that people don't understand, like local mom and pop shop. Like they even like put the card number written on the slip of paper, right?
people
Or
do that,
yeah, people do that. They don't know, like what, how effective this is, or like
right?
for fraud and all that. So this is what we do. Like our payment platform basically take all your data, right? All the customer data, and then replace it with a token. So you're basically out of any danger, there. And that token is basically like not, there's no information in the token. So even though if it's uh, somebody hacked that token or something, it's basically useless.
Right. They
Unless,
can't get the, and that's probably one of the best PCI compliant tools I've seen yet in this,
yeah.
because to replace it with a token and then you're invisible, it's kind of like putting up a wall that, but everything transacts after that. What if say Sasha's clients are from all over the world? Does it matter? Different currencies and stuff like that?
No, so that's why, as I mentioned, that it depends on what company you are choosing to do the payments. Uh, because if your company is local, right, in the United States, then they're not able to take the payments outside any other currency but the
Right.
dollar. But if your payment company is like globally, then they can take anything. Like for example, we take like all the currencies in Europe, we process in Europe, we process in Asia, we process in Americas, even Latin Americas. I'm doing a project recently with a DCC whole, like dynamic currency conversion. So we take even the Mexican pesos and process the transactions or the local currency or US dollar. So there is depends on like who's the payment provider,
Okay.
like and how globally is established. And that, so for example, if you go with my company, then you don't need to worry about if you have a business in Europe, because we process in Europe too, and the same platform is processing in Europe and same platform is processing in United States. So even though in Euro we'll take care of that part, even though you have a customer who wanted to pay $1 in Europe, we can do that as well. Or if your customer wanted to process US dollar in Mexico, we will take care of that part as well.
So
So
this sounds interesting, and maybe that's the example we can do next week. Is maybe Sasha can explain a platform, and then you can show how you set that platform up and make it easily set up and transferable. Like you said, everything can be customized.
mhm,
Once again, it's very difficult to find a good payment platform. I've worked with PayPal for years. You have to understand, for years. And
yeah,
this past Christmas, I don't know what happened. If there was, I got to go look, but you couldn't do anything with it. They were canceling all of my transactions. The system would go down. They canceled a couple of companies that I work with. They just canceled their accounts completely, so they couldn't even take payments.
yep.
And they didn't do anything illegal. They weren't even dealing in the CBD oil situation like people you saw were complaining about. They were non for profit organizations raising money that were legit. Like, I've worked with them for years, and I'm sitting here going, what is going on with PayPal? So I completely did, just said, okay, I can't do business with PayPal for a while, even though I still have my account with them because I need all my accounting over the years um, for tax reasons. But so then we went to another platform, and I forget what it was, but one of the ones and they weren't taking any. It's like they all got hacked. So we ended up having to do your old fashioned wire transfer. Like, we
Mm,
literally just, and wire transfers. Well, years ago, I tried to do a wire transfer of some money to my son in college. So this was back in 2015. Um, and it took 7 days. Seven.
yeah.
So here's what happened. I the money came out of my bank account. I filed a complaint with the banking industry or the financing industry. The money came out of my bank account, right? And it sat
Hmm.
somewhere. So it was gone out of my bank account, but it never went to his. And I called the bank and I go, well, where's my money? Well, we have to. It goes through checks and things, that we don't know. It goes through the Federal Reserve. I got all the notes on it. So,
Mm,
what do you mean Federal? Who's managing my money? Well, it was excuse. I go, well, when's it going to get to the account? Because somebody's making money on my money in this transaction right now. 7 days. I still have it somewhere. All the documentation of it left my account, is sat in limbo. Nobody could tell me where it was, who was doing anything with it. And then 7 days later, it came in his account. That should have never happened. And so I quit.
yeah.
I quit using wire transfer, and we bank at the same bank. This is what bothered me.
Wow.
So
Yeah. No, that.
wait, that was I took it from the credit union to put it. So that was two different banks. So that was two different banks. But
Yeah.
even in the same bank, it could take more than 48 hours, which bothers me because where's that money? What is it doing? Right? Um,
No, and that is a very possible scenarios. Like, there are a lot of
yeah.
miss things happen. Like, for example, recently, like couple of months ago, in my bank account, I saw like $7,000 deposited at one time, and I wasn't aware like where the money come from. So after like 4 days, because I thought like it may be a mistake, they will take it. Nobody took that money. It was still sitting in my account, and I'm like, somebody definitely will lose this money. So I call the bank, and they take like a month
Yeah.
to process and decide whether it's like and then the conclusion was they took that money back from my account, and they said like, oh, there was some mistyping issue with
A
the
typo.
class. Typo. I'm like, thank God that somebody deposited in my, what happened, somebody took from my account. you know
Yeah.
like it shouldn't happen that way. So
You heard
uh
about the typo here with the stimulus, didn't you? There was a typo on a stimulus check to a guy who works for, he was a fireman. And it was like, was it 16 million, Ankit? So they put
Yeah.
16 million in his bank account by accident. So 16 million. He's a fireman, right? And we're all expecting our stimulus, right? So he goes to the teller two to teller bank,
yeah.
the ATM, to get money out, and the receipt shows $16 million. So he had to hit the account again because he thought, so am I? Did I get the guy in front of me's account right? Something's wrong. And came back again, 16
It's like a winning a jackpot.
lottery. There you go. It's like hitting Sasha's investing class. Did I go to Sasha's investing class and win? You know, you win some, you lose some, right? Did I win? Isn't there an ABBA song? But winners and losers. But anyway,
By the way, I just saw the picture of the poker table, right? That
Sasha.
yeah. So
It's
have
a
you heard that?
roulette table.
Is that
It's a
the roulette
roulette table.
roulette table? Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, not the poker. That was an interesting news I read yesterday, that the guy put $100,000 on one number on roulette table, and he won.
Wow. What did
Wow.
you win?
$3.5 million.
Wow. What an
Uh,
odds,
it
right?
was on the news. You can search on it. That the guy
How
and
often does the house lose like that, Sasha? That's less than 1% that they lose, right? Less than
Mm,
1%.
I'll tell
That's
you
amazing.
to a much lower probability winnings that I had on more than once. For example, there is a game now quite popular in Las Vegas and other casinos by the name Three Cards Poker. So let's see if you get, say, clubs, queen, king, and an ace. That's basically Flash Royale, except that because it's a three-card poker, so there are only three cards. Like in normal poker, it would be five cards. It's three cards poker. But if you have that combination, you're winning a very substantial amount of money.
Um,
So once in
Man, Beth.
right, so
Wow.
once in Aruba, I was there with
That's,
my wife, and the first day that we arrived, we went to a casino after dinner, and there was a bonus. It's a small casino, so it was like maybe two and a half, $2,600 bonus, and we set to play three-card poker. And my wife asked, "When are you paying this bonus? At what point?" And the dealer says, "If somebody get spades Clash Royale. So you need to get queen, king, and ace of spades to not only win whatever your stake is, but also the bonus. The very next deal, I got queen, king, and ace of spades.
wow.
Mhm.
All casino came over to see this, and they calculated the prices. But the most interesting thing is not this. The most interesting thing is when I told about that talented friend of mine he's a chess player and he's a game player and he's a stock investor and so on and on. He started to think about it and he said to me, Sasha, you can't even imagine how many people are dying without ever having Flash Royale in pocket.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That is amazing.
What a statement.
I mean, it's like getting the black pearl out of the ocean, right? And what are the odds of that happening? You know, and it
Yeah.
happened like right when they told you about it. That what I do know is the house doesn't like to lose, and I was there one day winning. And I don't ever gamble, but somebody I was waiting for a flight. And somebody gave me some money to start with. They said, "I don't want to sit here and gamble alone. Stay, gamble with me." And so I, for some stupid reason, was winning like just every hand. And so they thought I was counting or something. And so the manager came over and started talking with me. And, as I kept winning, he finally said, "Do you mind if we change the deck?" And I go, that is not right. That is not right.
Yeah.
Just because, I'm not counting. I'm too tired to wouldn't even know how. I don't gamble. I'm just a lucky streak. So he changed the deck. I lost the next hand and I cashed out my chips. I won a lot of money. I started with $10 and I ended up with 3,000. I paid off the guy that loaned me the 10. And tipped the person bringing me drinks and cashed in and bought an upgrade home. But the it bothered me that the house would behave that way, right?
Yeah.
It's
But
kind
I'm more interested. I'm more interested to know how they're gonna transfer this $3.5 million. Because obviously they're not gonna give cash to that guy for
Yeah.
sure.
You'd be
So
surprised who takes cash. You would be surprised the people who walk out the door. But you got to pay taxes on this, right? People,
yeah.
they got a thing called a 1099-G in the United States,
Yep.
and
Yep.
if you win anything over $10,000, you have to report it. And actually, anything over $1, they want you to report. But heck, I'd hate to do the accounting on that one. But it's anything over 10,000 at the casinos is going to get reported on a 1099-G. So I can't imagine like you said, yeah, it's got to be transported somehow, electronically.
Electronically. Yeah.
I just cashed in my chips and got my cash. That was back in the day. I wasn't afraid to carry cash, but
Yeah.
but yeah, can you imagine $3 million? Have you ever seen $1 million in a suitcase? Have you ever seen $1 million?
I saw in the
Uh,
movie.
I carried I
It's right
carried
here.
$250,000 in cash.
See, it's right here.
That's all.
That's $1 million in a suitcase.
Wow.
That's $1 million in a suitcase. And so for him, he would need after taxes, which would probably come close to 50% and stuff like that. He'll need one and a half of those suitcases is what he'll need. Two cases. So I know exactly what it takes to carry $1 million.
Yeah. But I think carrying cash is a big issue now, especially this time in casino. So they should come up with something. And I think the last session that we talk about it, right? How to put the advanced way of not carrying cash in the casino.
Well, and I think, you brought up something about facial recognition or something like that, because if you have a chip or a medallion, like what they were selling on the cruise ships, right? They had a medallion that everything was on your medallion. Somebody could steal it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be something a little more personable so that you're not carrying a wallet or a purse around all the time. I mean, I hate having to carry a purse around all the time with, money, keys, and things like that too, as well. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's going to have to maybe that CT,
CCTV cameras. Yeah. Because, having a facial recognition on all the machines, it's like super expensive.
Well, they already have all of those cameras in the casino. Have you ever been to a casino video room?
Yeah, they have.
So they've already got the setup, right? So what you're talking about is nothing more than AI analog system on the back end after they capture the video. And I'm sure they already have all of that, to be honest with you. The casinos are the most advanced technology in the world.
Yep.
Literally, they have the most advanced technology in the world.
That's why, now it's time for them to use actually that advanced technology for, reducing the cash flow on the.
So, let me
Uh,
ask you this. Are any of your client base in the casino industry?
meaning my previous company had big, but this company is like, we have big casinos in Europe and Hong Kong side, not in the US.
So
So
let's
we
let's
are.
let's make a contact, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we are open to talk. And I was discussing with a few casinos recently also, but we don't have any on the right now on the
Well,
platform.
let's make some contacts and maybe get you into a gaming program of some kind where you can start transferring cash in some programs as well, because there's a need for competitive edge. Yours definitely covers all the spectrums of security that and it's
Yeah.
really funny because when I met one of the world's billionaires of one of the payment system, that I think I don't know. You could tell you got a little concerned during our interview, and all I asked was, what are you doing for security? And,
Yeah, that's
whoa,
a very big question,
well,
for most
because
of
that was
them.
my background, right? That's why Nick kind of brought me on board, not just for security, but engineering all the way around. But I have
Hmm.
been working in PCI, I've been speaking on speaking tours from anyone in the payment industry all the way to law enforcement on payment securities, on security of cybersecurity in general. And it was funny because, oh my God, his eyes, and I kid you not, like within 12 months, he hired a new CTO. He's got, a CISO, and, because all of those things came into play. But it
Yep.
told me how serious that is, right? It told me that the look on his face was like, I felt like he felt like I was trapping him, and I wasn't. I was just curious. What does a payment industry people do for security?
Yep.
I wasn't trying to catch him. I wasn't trying to pull the rug out from under him. But you hit all of the spectrum.
Yep.
You're,
No,
you're
that's why I said like the security and how advanced you are in terms of technology. That is two major thing, to survive in the industry, right? And you have to know that both the things very well, to communicate to the customers.
I got a big one. What about donations? Companies that are non for profit or raising funds or charitable funds. Do you do those?
We don't have any such customers, but as I said, like, it's a payment
Do
piece,
that?
right? So
Yeah.
right, so if we have a right, like, if the connection, and if we talk, and probably like if I have to link my payment platform on their website or whatever, like, how they're going to take the charity, right, we can easily do it. As long as this is the only thing is like the connection, like, we have to make that connection so we can start talking about the payment parts, with them. So as I said, it's not impossible. It's just like we don't have any such customers. Like, mainly like our focus was on like mainly on lodging, retail, and restaurants in the
Well,
past.
yeah,
So
that's where the people made the biggest money.
yeah, but
There's a
now
whole open market. So
even like, any data also we can tokenize. So not forget about the payment. Like, if you have a lot of customer data and you are, afraid to store that on your system, like there's nothing to do with payments, but still we can provide a service that like take your data and tokenize.
and it's
So
safer that way. It's much more safer. I mean, this is
yeah.
what I told the IRS they needed to change their system for collecting money, because right now the IRS is a hacker's dream. It
Yep.
is. So first off, they keep all of the financial data that they force taxpayers to send into them. They're not supposed to be doing this anyway, and
Hmm.
it goes on an external cloud owned by Citrix, which we all know who Citrix is, right? Citrix
Hmm.
is, so now you've got all the data that I kept on separate banks and financial industries, all my ID data, my social, everything in one place,
Yep.
in one open door place. And they do this with everyone. So
Yep.
I was being penalized because I refused to put my information there. Like I just like, no,
Yeah.
I want to do the old fashioned way. Well, everyone does it. Well, everyone's an idiot. You know, I did. I said that. I was like, well, everybody's an idiot because all your data. And I go, what a hacker's dream. Oh my
Yeah.
God. You know, I
It's a
for
jackpot
a
for them.
hacker, I would be in that door today. Literally.
Yeah.
That's where I
It's a
would.
jackpot for them.
It is. So I'm sitting here thinking this would even be a good platform for them because now you're tokenizing all that information and the hackers can't see it.
Yep.
And or that's just that one extra layer you need. Um,
And that's why exactly I said, like, the payment partner, it doesn't mean that we have to only deal with the payments. We do a lot
Yeah.
of other things, like tokenize only service, right? So where payment is not involved, we just like tokenize, give you the token, and then that token you can keep it. Like, for example, a lot of county database has a lot of customer information, right? So where they store all that information, in the local machine or local servers, that's where, like, we come and play, like, hey, let's take your data and we'll tokenize. So I'm also looking for the customer like that, or the client like that, that where there's nothing to do with the payments, but still we can offer our advanced platform to store your data. So there are a lot of other ways to do that. And yeah, I'm happy to collaborate with anyone, like, or any discussions or any client. If you guys know, like, feel free, like, to add me, and I'll jump, discuss, connect.
that
Certainly, certainly.
parking payment programs, that's where we need to connect you because
Yeah.
that's a big business right now. Everything's going app based for parking or 1 meter based, but I like the app based because you don't have to pay at a meter.
Yep.
And you can like add to it while you're gone. So if you're stuck in court or in a meeting and you go,
Yep.
oh God, this is going to run, you can add. So to me, that would be, and there's plenty of those that are growing right now. So maybe making you connect that dot, we can help you do
Yep.
that.
Like a Park mobile app, in DC, is very famous, that they take you can extend your time, you can pay through app. All you have to do is like scan that QR, or like, put the parking number and put your license. They also have some loophole that, that I personally face an issue, but other than that, it's pretty good app. That so as I said, like, we can design our own app too, like, in order to
Well,
uh,
we can do
target
that,
and
and actually been bid on those contracts, right? Because the city
Mhm.
of Raleigh. Listen to this; it's so stupid. We sat in on a commissioner meeting, my team and I, 2 years ago, and we sat in on all the problems they wanted to solve for the city, right? The major problems of a city. And you know what? The first problem they wanted to solve. Okay, it wasn't like all the women being beaten in domestic violence and law enforcement getting. It wasn't that. Okay, that they're spending $80 million a year on. They wanted to fix the parking.
Yeah, parking is a big issue in
They
some
wanted to fix the
cities.
parking and payments. That's what they said. We want a better parking and payment system. And I go, wait a minute. And they go, well, that's how we generate revenue.
Yeah, exactly. And
Oh,
that's yeah, and that's why, like, now this facial recognition in parking is also very famous now, like, going forward, that
well, everything's facial recognition, and I
yeah.
don't know if people understand this, but we are moving into what nobody wanted to do, like the movie Minority Report or Matrix or
Yeah.
that TV show that was on a few years ago, where they could see everyone and calculate in seconds, where predict what a person might be doing. We're moving into that age. Okay,
Exactly. Yep.
you just got to get past it and understand that we are moving. Uh-oh, got a big okay, we got a reporter that's out there, and occasionally he posts in about our show and what he's doing, and if he knows
Yeah.
somebody who might be able to do business with the people that are here as well. Hi, Zach. Thanks for checking in. So Zach's out and about meeting with people, restaurants that could be using your service and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So but anyway, so yeah, so we're moving into that world, right, where AI is going to be driving us more than we are. And so why not get the payment system ironed out?
Yep.
start moving into that ecosystem, and start establishing better habits that way. And when you have a startup business, this is the first thing you need to think about. How am I going to bring that revenue in? Is it
Exactly.
because people don't write checks anymore? Nick does. Sorry, folks. If you do business with Nick, you got to wait till the check. When he says checks in the mail, it's because somebody texted me one day and they go, Nick said Nick said checks in the mail, and in a joking term, that means you'll never see your money, right? And I go, aren't you lucky? You'll have your money in about 2 or 3 days. That's how he pays.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
but
I
something
haven't used check in like last 10 years or
you
12
have.
years.
I have
No.
I have 2 hairdressers. I hope they're both not listening, because I rotate between them. But they I love them both. But you always got to have a backup, right? And one of them, to this day, I've known her since 1994, and she has always taken a check and never will change. She won't, when everybody changed the Square or whatever payment there was, never. To this day, she will not take a credit card. And the other one, he finally upgraded. He used to take check only, but he takes any means of payment. He goes, he doesn't Apple Pay, I got it. Square, I got it. He doesn't
Yeah.
care what it is. So, but maybe
But that's how you get the business. Like,
yeah.
Apple Pay, okay, I'll take it. Or Google Pay, I'll take it.
I'll take whatever you got.
Whatever you got, exactly.
That's what he don't care. He even still takes checks, but he said that's pretty messy for him now. But when I still go back to my other friend, to this day, it's still check only. So it's a matter of, some of us just don't want to change. I'll put it this way though. For the IRS, it's easier to reconcile your books with checks.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lawsuit, it's easier to enforce a check than it is an electronic payment or a wire transfer.
That's true. Yeah,
And I
is
learned this
100%
the
true.
hard way with a huge deal. Was if the transaction took place in a wire transfer, and even though they wrote in there what it was for, it wasn't documented on the official paper. Like it was like, here's your payment, here's what it's, it wasn't. But on a check, if I had continued forcing them to pay me in a check, it would have been written at the bottom, and I could have enforced it.
Yeah.
You get this. This was just 2 years ago. This wasn't.
Mm.
This wasn't 10 years ago. And so I go, you mean to tell me the court will not accept this?
But
Okay,
that's like on
They
the
don't.
dispute time, like winning or losing the battle, right? It's important how you initiate that transaction, right? And what the security measures you have. Obviously, like check, you have signatures, you have numbers, you have personalized check, a lot of other information. What is that for, and other things.
Yeah.
But now, nobody has that much time to write, or
No.
nobody has that much time to go find the checkbook, tear that, write it down, and all that. People just like open the phone on Venmo, I'll transfer the money, and boom, boom. It's just like within like couple of clicks, the money goes from my account to your account, and that is what exactly advanced. So I agree, like, how to initiate that transaction is the most important thing.
Well, and I think that too, good documentation. So one of the things, maybe if I start working with you, when I start building, because I'm going to need a means of accepting payment transactions when I launch my new business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going to do Money Masters and IBM TV. Don't worry. But this has been something that's been long waiting. It's my patent, and I'm getting together a new team, and we are going to be hitting the runway, right? So, but when I hit the runway, I need to accept payments. So one of the things I'm going to do is work with you on, when we get the payments, how we get it documented as the payment transactions happen, so that everyone's protected. Not one sided, but everyone, right?
Definitely, we can talk about it.
For taxes too. A lot of people don't understand. That's a big sore thumb for me, is that if you have all the right documentation and it's processed right, you only have to push a button once. Right now, I'm having to hand key in a lot of transactions for tax audit, because nothing just transfers over, right? Yep. And nothing's done in a great, even though they do good category, the IRS goes, oh, I don't like it this way. I want it this way. So I'm having to hand key everything and transfer. So one of the things I'm going to do is automate. I'm going to work with you guys, and hopefully we can customize and make it easy for everyone, and we're going to do that. And so I am going to become one of your customers when we fly our next plane.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a big plane. So,
Yeah, I'm on it.
Passengers. We're going to have a lot of passengers on this plane. So,
Yeah.
but
No, I'm definitely we can definitely discuss and help you in any way that
and as
you
we
want.
maybe we can record it and share the information on how it's done with people, right? Because everything that we're about on IBM TV, and you'll hear us every once in a while talk about our little problems that we're having and how we're solving them. And the reason is I want people to know not everything's perfect backstage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not everything's
Exactly.
perfect in a business. And you're going to hear us talking point blank. Oh, yeah, we got to go meet with the attorneys today because we got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody goes, why do you share all of that? Because people need to know that this is part of a startup. This is part of business. This is what happens. So when Nick and I were hosting Money Masters, right? And we would interview these exclusive interviews with these very, very successful, wealthy people. Well, the interviews were good. We were unscripted, which I loved, right? But do you know where the best conversations happened?
What?
At lunch.
At lunch. Yeah. It's always.
And it was when we put our everything kind of set aside. We're not in front of a camera, and we're talking about these things, right? We're talking about, I got sued over this. I could have avoided the lawsuit if we had done that. Oh, that's good. Why didn't we have that on the show, Nick?
That's a lot of
people need to know.
A lot of interesting and important talks always happens on the dining table or like a bar table, because very not formal ways, but people are like open about having the discussion. And that's why I love talking on the bar tables or dining tables where you can talk about anything, whatever you feel.
My first entrepreneur contract, okay, my first entrepreneur contract was written on a napkin. You've heard people tell this story, but it's true. It is my very first deal I closed with someone was at lunch on a napkin. We didn't even have our notebooks with us. Actually, we didn't even know each other. We met.
Yep. I'll tell you my first.
We closed a deal in 1 hour.
I'll tell you my first meeting with one of the big lodging industry in the US or in the world, right? I guess CEO of that. I had only 5 minutes or 3 minutes discussion, I believe. But that was on the dining table, on the lunch table during the big event in LA. So and that was no scripted, nothing. I just went there, we talk about it, and then that's it. And he's like, oh, share your contact information. I wanted to do this global tokenization in the international market, and let's talk about it. So that's it. And then from there we took it and we discussed.
Time out.
Yeah.
So we have a show with Sasha about investments, and Sasha is waiting to start the show.
Oh, is it start today?
Sasha, are you?
Oh, it starts today.
Yeah.
Am I be there or
Sasha,
no?
Would you mind if Ketul?
It's up to Sasha.
It's up to Sasha. Would you mind if we sit around? I'm going to sit him backstage, but because I want to just hear everything up front and then text in my questions on the comment sector so I can post them. But Ketul, is it okay if we sit in? How do you want to do this, Sasha?
I have a other meeting to jump on, but
will you watch us and text us?
Yeah, I can watch live, on my phone. Yeah.
You can dial back in on backstage too.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But is there anything regarding me? Just shoot me a message or something. Then I'll definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe you can help us come up with ideas for payment transactions. So.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Well, Ketul, I'm excited about moving forward with some of these ideas and then doing a class next week on payment transactions.